construction sites involve many high-risk activities and are considered one of the most hazardous workplaces. There are several main activities carried out at construction sites, including excavation and site clearing, structural construction, and electrical and mechanical installation. During these activities, workers are exposed to various physical and environmental hazards such as falls, noise, dust, moving machinery, and electrical risks. Therefore, effective safety management is very important to reduce accident, injuries, and health problems at the workplace. Understanding this hazard is the first step in creating a safer construction environment. Next, I will explain the key construction process. The first stage is site preparation, which is include land clearing and excavation. This stage prepares the area before construction begins. The second stage is structural works. It involves building the foundation, concreting, and framework that form the main structure of the building. The third stage is installation work, where electrical wiring and machinery systems are installed to ensure the building functions properly. The final stage is finishing work, which include roofing, painting, and interior work to complete the construction project. Each stage has its own hazard and risk. Therefore, proper safety measures and control methods must be implemented to protect workers and ensure the project is completed safely. Now that we understand the construction process, let's look at the specific hazards associated with each activity. Next, let's talk about one of the most serious hazards on any construction site, working at height. This risk shows up constantly during scaffolding, roofing, and general structural work. Basically, anytime a worker has to leave a solid ground to do their job. The core danger is falling from height, and that risk goes up sharply when platforms are unstable, scaffolding is poorly assembled, or guardrails are missing or damaged. The consequences of a fall from height are rarely minor. We're talking about broken bones, head injuries, and in the worst cases, fatal accidents. Even when a fall isn't fatal, it can mean months of recovery, loss income for the worker's family, and serious delay and cost for the project. This is exactly why height work is treated as a high priority hazard in construction safety planning. So, what can be done to control this risk? First, every worker operating in height should be using a proper safety harness connected to a lifeline, ideally with a fall arrest system that limits how far someone can fall before being caught. Second, guardrails and safety nets should be installed around any elevated work area, not as an afterthought, but as a standard part of the setup before work even begins. And third, scaffolding should never be assumed safe just because it was fine yesterday. It needs a proper inspection before it's used, checking for loose joints, damaged boards, and stable footing, ideally signed off by a competent person before workers are allowed out. Now let's move on to excavation work, which carries its own set of serious risks, particularly during trenching and foundation digging. The main danger here is the collapse of soil or trench walls. This can happen quickly and with very little warning, especially if the soil is loose, saturated with water, or if there's vibration nearby from heavy machinery. When a trench collapses, the consequences can be devastating. Workers can be buried or trapped under the weight of soil, and even a small amount of soil covering someone can lead to suffocation within minutes. Rescue in these situations is difficult and time sensitive, which is why prevention matters so much more than response. To manage this risk properly, trench support systems, commonly known as shoring, should be used to hold back the trench walls and prevent collapse. The slope of the trench also needs to be designed correctly based on the type of soil. Stable soil and unstable soil require very different slope angles to stay safe. On top of that, regular inspections by a qualified safety supervisor are essential, especially after rain or any change in ground conditions, since a trench that was safe in the morning may not be safe by the afternoon. Restricting access around open trenches with proper signage and barriers is another simple but effective step in keeping workers out of harm's way. Next, I will explain about electrical hazard. Electrical hazards are risks associated with the installation, maintenance, and use of electrical equipment. They commonly occur when workers come into contact with exposed wires, damaged cable, or faulty electrical equipment. The effect of electrical hazard can be very serious. Workers may experience electric shock, which can cause pain, muscle spasms, or loss of consciousness. In severe cases, electrical accident may result in burns, electrocution, or even death. Electrical faults can also cause fire, leading to property damage and workplace accident. To reduce this risk, workers should always use insulated tools and personal protective equipment (PPE) such as insulated gloves and safety boots. They should also follow lockout or take-out (LOTO) procedures before performing maintenance work and receive proper safety training. In conclusion, electrical hazard can be dangerous, but following safety procedures and using the correct protective equipment can help create a safer workplace.
Moving on to our next topic, let's look at the risks and safety protocols associated with machinery and equipment. On a construction site, the use of heavy machines like cranes and excavators is absolutely essential to get the job done. However, operating these large vehicles comes with serious hazards. The primary risks we face include workers being struck by moving machinery or experiencing severe equipment malfunctions. When things go wrong, the effect can be devastating, often leading to crushing injuries and other serious life-threatening accidents. To prevent these tragedies, we must strictly enforce three core control measures. First, regular equipment maintenance is mandatory to ensure all machinery is working perfectly. Second, we require rigorous operator training and certification so that only qualified personnel are behind the controls. And finally, we must always set up clear safety signage and restrict zones to keep ground workers at a safe distance from active machinery. Now, let's discuss the broader safety measures and control practice that serve as our shield against workplace hazards. Safety is a collective responsibility, and it begins the moment someone steps onto the site. This is why a comprehensive safety induction is mandatory for all new workers to familiarize them with site rules. A critical line of defense is the strict and correct use of personal protective equipment or PPE. Everyone on site must wear their essential gear, including helmets, gloves, safety boots, and highly visible reflective vests at all times. Beyond gear, we rely heavily on the implementation of safe work procedures to guide our daily tasks. We also have structured emergency response plans ready for quick deployment in case of fires, accidents, or sudden evacuation. To tie it all together, there must be continuous safety monitoring and supervision from management to ensure no one is cutting corners and that our protocols are actively followed.
Next, this slide explains the safety regulations and safety culture in workplace. First, the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 or OSHA aims to ensure the safety, health, and welfare of employees while they are working. It also places a responsibility on employers to provide a safe working environment. Next, the Factory and Machinery Act 1967 focuses on machinery safety. This act helps prevent accidents by ensuring machines are properly maintained, inspected, and operated safely. In addition, the OSH Construction Work Regulations 2024 provide guidelines for hazard control, risk management, and safety planning in construction projects. Besides following regulation, a strong safety culture is also important. Clear communications help workers understand safety procedures and reduces the risk of accidents. Supervisors should guide workers and ensure safety rules are followed. Good teamwork and respect among workers can also improve overall workplace safety performance.
To wrap up our presentation, let's look at our conclusion and reflection. It is undeniable that construction sites involve many inherently high-risk activities. However, our main takeaway is that these workplace hazards can be successfully controlled if we implement and maintain proper safety measures. Furthermore, legal compliance with laws and regulations plays a massive, irreplaceable role in upholding these safety standards. On a personal note, this project has given us some valuable reflections. We have truly learned the critical importance of hazard identification before starting any work. We also realized that communication is absolutely key to preventing accidents. A team that talks to each other stays safe. Ultimately, fostering a strong sense of safety awareness is what transforms the work environment into a secure, productive place for everyone.
For our references, the information used in this presentation was obtained from reliable sources, including the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994, the Factory and Machinery Act 1967, the OSH Construction Work Regulations 2024, and the Department of Occupational Safety and Health or DOSH.